All right, welcome back to physics. Today we are going to begin our preparation for um, our quiz, which will be in about a week. And so for 3 days here, we're going to be doing some practice applying the patterns that you've learned so far to actual circumstances. So the first thing that we're going to do is a little starter and uh, get going from there. So I'm going to head over to uh, share my screen here and we will get going with our Desmos. All right, so I've set up a new uh, practice area, patterns practice, and that's where we're going to head to. And so within patterns practice, I've set up 4 days of patterns practice. Only day one is active right now. So go to the starter. And when you do the starter, you're going to see a Google slide. And the Google slide, there we go, has 5 questions on it. First question, the more I practice the guitar, the better I play, is a quadratic pattern. In a linear graph of eating and body weight, a horizontal line means what? As the slope of the line on a distance time graph gets steeper, what does that mean? And I want to know the mathematical model for an event. With a linear pattern, if A equals 3 and B equals 2, and then number 5, substitute for X equal 2 and X equal 5. All right. If you're just practicing this, you can stop the video and get to work and then restart it. I'm going to give you the answers. Here we go. The more I practice the guitar, the better I get is a quadratic pattern. That is false. It's a linear pattern. In a linear graph of eating and body weight, the horizontal line means constant weight, no change. Number 3, as the slope of the line on the distance time graph gets steeper, it means they're going faster. The mathematical model for an event of linear, well, remember, linear is y equals mx plus b or ax plus b. So I'm just going to substitute and I would have y equals 3x plus 2. I'm just substituting the 3 and the 2 in for a and b. Now, if I do further substitution for x, I would have y equals 3 times 2 plus 2. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. For the second one, y equals 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So that would be the answers to our starter. All right, so I'm going to go back over to our mini lab and let's get going with that. I've asked you to do the mini lab on your own, and we're just going to walk through that right now, a little bit of what that looks like. All right, so mini labs are done as Google Docs. So that's coming up now. So I'm going to show you the Google Doc. All right, so in the Google Doc, the scenario is that you have a friend who's working at the mall selling cell phones, and the number of cell phones is related to their paycheck. And so what is that relationship? What is the pattern? Well, if we know the pattern, we could make predictions about the size of their paycheck if we knew how many cell phones they might sell. So if you're doing this yourself, you could actually graph this on the horizontal. Remember, the independent variable number of cell phones is on the x-axis and dependent variable paycheck is on the y-axis. This should be scaled 5, 10, 15, 20 across the x-axis and going up 10, 20, 30, 40 up to 100. Okay. If you don't want to graph it by hand, you can use this little bit.ly right here, and it will take you over to Desmos. And I'm going to zip over to Desmos. If you haven't used Desmos before, Desmos is this really cool program that will do graphing for you. So we start out with a table, and I'm going to start out with a table of numbers here. And I'm just going to put in some numbers. And what you can see right away is that Desmos is graphing those numbers. All right. And when I have my numbers in my table, I go back to the plus, use expression, and do y equals ax plus b. Type it in. Always do the blue all for the slider bars. And so I can now move my line for the y-intercept, and then move my line again for my line of best fit. My line of best fit, remember, I want to try to have equal dots, data points on each side of my line. So now that I've done that, I know my model is y equals 1.2x plus 0, okay? So that's what I want you to do for our mini lab. And then I want you to look at a second graph and answer a question about which employee, A or B, would have enough money to buy a car first, okay? And tell me, under the claim, is that A or B? What is your evidence for that? Okay, looking at the graph. And on reasoning, I want you to justify your answer, all right? So that's what we're doing today. And I will see you next time.
Yes, I am.